Central African time. Thank you for tuning in. We have African Business coming through, actually, just after the 4 p.m. news bulletin. But speaking of on business, or speaking about business, well, it looks like AI has really given us opportunities to start some interesting businesses. Soweto-based tech entrepreneur KK Diaz has launched a new artificial intelligence powered business platform aimed at helping small businesses turn plans into daily action. As we understand it, the system brings together key functions like sales, marketing, and financial tracking into one space, basically. Okay, so it is helping businesses to work more efficiently and to track performance in real time. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about how it's designed, how it's going to close the gap between what looks like strategy and execution. We've got joining us on the line, the entrepreneur behind it. Good afternoon. Welcome to Channel Africa.
Hi. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to the audience as well. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you for joining us. So I'm reading it slowly because I'm trying to understand how you've designed this. You know, you obviously want to close this gap between how people plan and strategize to moving swiftly into execution. But execution, obviously, that's going to make them more efficient, make them money and all of that. How is this different from brainstorming platforms like ChatGPT? And, you know, how is this different in terms of turning me into a strategizing and execution machine?
It's a very good question. You currently, as it stands, large language models cannot operate or function like what we'll call business operating systems. Mm-hmm. They typically don't have database infrastructure. So, for example, you can generate an invoice from an LLM like ChatGPT or Claude, but where is that invoice going to sit? How do you recall it? How do you send it to someone? You know, how do you include it in a statement that a client can then see should they wish to see the statement? So there's quite a lot that large language models are not yet capable of achieving currently, or at least managing and processing. Two other things I can say for context. So that's the one is you cannot necessarily achieve what the A-game business app is able to achieve with just a large language model, as powerful as they are. What I want to say is we did use a large language model, and we continue to use different ones as part of our life cycle, our software development life cycle. So I got to be a beneficiary of not needing to raise the 2.5 million that I was initially and previously required to raise before I was able to get my hands on a large language model. And then when it got to a point where it was as advanced as it was 6-8 months ago, because they couldn't code. You remember that Claude and the like started coding about maybe 18 months ago, but it only got refined as we progressed. So, and then lastly, if you look at current business applications, you'll find your accounting application, you'll find your CRM, you'll find your marketing one separately. So what we've done is we've combined more than 16-20 core modules that are typically represented as applications in other cases, which it's going to be a while even before Claude achieves that. I know that Claude is doing amazing work right now, but they are focusing on something different currently, which is to create agents that as a user can create a brand new agent to do one or two, maybe multiple functions. But I think we still quite a bit ahead in terms of what we are able to achieve. And just lastly, in closing, it's all based on 20 years experience. So it isn't just was thought of last year. We've worked with more than 1,500, 2,000 SMEs over the last 10-15 years, developing the frameworks, developing the methodologies, and adapting them to then fit the South African and African context. And we're very proud of the application. It's fairly amazing in its very early stages. And as we search and raise funds, we're happy that we've been able to fund and bankroll it ourselves up to this point. Such opportunities help us to get the word out there. Thank you.
10 minutes before 4 p.m. Central African time, we're in conversation with Soweto tech entrepreneur KK Diaz. He's the founder of A-Game Business Operating Systems. He's unveiling an AI-powered business operating system, that is what it is, to transform how African SMEs execute and scale their businesses. We'll continue the conversation right after this.
África. Conhece o Ntivani?
Claro que sou eu.
Ntivani é o amante da música de corpo e alma.
Eu amo música africana.
Ele aprecia todos os tipos de melodias e passa os seus dias a ouvir a Channel África. Adivinha só, a Channel África quer ajudar o Ntivani e os amantes da música em todo o lado a descobrir ainda mais música incrível. Por isso, a Channel África está a convocar artistas africanos a submeterem as suas músicas. Músicos, lembrem-se de nos dar todas as informações relevantes no music@channelafrica.co.za. As submissões são a vossa oportunidade de ser ouvidos, mas não garantem inclusão na lista. Todas as submissões serão cuidadosamente analisadas para verificar se cumprem os requisitos da nossa estação. Canal África, a perspectiva africana.
Whatever you want to hear about today's talk, you can get it on the upside.
How do you move from planning, strategizing to executing? Well, you partner up with Soweto tech entrepreneur KK Diaz. He's just unveiled an AI-powered business operating system transforming how African SMEs execute and scale. KK, in layman's terms, how does this platform work? And as a small business owner, how would it benefit me?
Great, thank you. So the quickest way for somebody to really get hands-on experience is simply visit www.agamebusiness.co.za. You can create a 14-day trial, and I do highly recommend you select the business tier because it has the AI, and as you brought it up, the strategy module. So the first two tiers actually don't have the strategy module. But to answer your question, how will it support a small business owner and the teams? So one is it has these various components that I mentioned, starting with artificial intelligence. And we've seen how AI has helped so many businesses, not only to transform how they themselves do business, but how they provide value to their customers. So that's number one, is the AI module helps business owners to ask questions that maybe have been difficult for them to even consider they could ask. Many of our African entrepreneurs cannot afford a business coach or a mentor. So already right at the box, the application will need to be trained, which is the first step. So as you start right at the top, the AI module requires you to provide information across areas such as your personal vision, what you'd like to achieve, and what would you like the business to achieve. And then it starts supporting you in terms of developing sales playbooks, marketing plans that you can then utilize effectively towards marketing your business, i.e. getting more customers, which is one of the biggest challenges small businesses have. Once you've identified a plan, the different modules within the app, they help you to execute a full-on marketing campaign. So you can send out marketing campaigns, WhatsApp, social media. You can manage various components of a marketing campaign, and then you can manage them from a CRM perspective, and of course deliver those promises that you make to your customer successfully using the project management tool, and of course you can invoice using the finance module. To answer the question, we have technology pieces that a small business owner would typically use WhatsApp, spreadsheets, notebooks for. This app helps them to get better organized, to professionalize their business, to better manage their teams when they have one, and to delegate tasks effectively, and to ensure those tasks are getting actually checked off. If where there are delays, the business owner will be able to see. And talking about strategy, that happens more as a result of, of behavior than it is systems. We have systems like these, but if a company, a small business is to be successful in executing a strategy, it's really about being disciplined in how they use the app. And of course, some of the frameworks that we've built in the application already. And of course, my team and I are available to technically support them and to guide them as they build their business using the app.
Well done. I mean, I'm sold. If I was a venture capitalist, I'd give you whatever money you want for it so we can get it going. We're talking about a game business operating system. Very, very well done. Let's talk about how we can access it, because if I'm listening and I'm thinking, I want to give this a try, 14 days to trial it. How do we access the program?
Thank you. So to access it, anybody has got access to a 14-day trial of the paid. So simply visit www.agamebusiness.co.za and you'll see a nice big red button that says start for free. You can click there to create your 14-day trial. And just lastly, on the 1st of April, we are going to kick off a 6-week coaching program that enables users to actually utilize the app. For a month, we'll give them an extra month for free, courtesy of such platforms, and so we'll provide them with that support, and they have close to 40 days to actually decide if they'd like to continue utilizing it. If they need an extension and they trial, I'm here, I'm available, my team and I. You can simply just ask for an extension, and we can extend it further. But it's an extremely affordable offer, and as you said, it is really up there. It may sound too good to be true. I invite everyone to take a look at it, because we are building it for you, Africa. So please do show up, show up for yourselves. Tell us what you don't like about it, what you like about it, and let's work together to build it into the app we know. Once we have it as a SME development community, I think we'll, the heights are endless from here.
KK, in closing, and we have run out of time, unfortunately, but security is also very important in spaces like this.
Yes, sir.
You have access to people's private information, customers' information, invoices and all banking details and all these things. Talk to us about the protection for this kind of information, sensitive information, that you can sort of give confidence to any investor looking into this project.
100%. And we welcome those opportunities. So we are hosting this application using one of the best hosting companies on the continent. So it's not like, the servers are sitting underneath my desk here. No, they're not. Currently, Ex-Nilo, if I may say, I'll openly say it's Ex-Nilo, one of the safest hosting companies around. We've been using them for years, and military grade security. And of course, we have our own security on top of Ex-Nilo's security platforms. We have our own frameworks that we are utilizing. I have an amazing team of developers, highly experienced. I bring 20 years of experience in business. They bring 20 years worth of experience from a dev world. And together, we've really done an exceptional job. So I can fully attest to our security. And as somebody with experience as much as I have across all of these applications we've worked with in the past, we truly understand the importance of security, protecting and respecting private information. So that's definitely covered already right out the box. And I welcome any investigations, any challenges, or for purpose of due diligence, we're happy to send what we need to send.
You know how I know somebody's a real founder? Is when you start including people in the critical conversation. Like, let's build this together. What are your suggestions? How are you experienced this product? Then I know that you're a real founder, because it's so easy for people to slap founder in, to prefix their titles and then keep it moving. But this is how I know you're a real founder, is you really are inclusive of the people and saying, listen, we want feedback. We want to know how we can make it better. We want to know what's working, how we can build this together. So congratulations on that note, KK. I think you're onto something. I think you're onto something, especially for small businesses. This is no longer a big business economy alone. We've got smaller people that want to get into the game, and they are going to be fierce thanks to platforms like A Game Business. So agamebusiness.com if you'd like more information and perhaps to give it a try. .co.za, I beg your pardon. agame.co.za if you wish to give it a try for 14 days. Thanks again for the time. All the best. Hey?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, we've come to the end of our program.